What's up, guys? The Beast and Jay here, otherwise known as D Marchese, and this is our Captain America Civil War spoiler-free review. Now, before I get started, as I've mentioned in my previous videos, the Road to Civil War videos, which you guys can watch if you like here on the channel, I will have a spoiler-filled review as well. You can watch that right here. So if you're looking for the conversation talking about everything that happened in Civil War, that video has gone live at the same time as this one. So you have your options. If you want a spoiler-free one, stick right here. You're in the right place. If you want the one that goes all out and tells you everything you need to know, that other one's here as well. So this is going to be spoiler-free. I'm going to talk a little bit about my overall thoughts of the film, some of the strongest points, maybe some of the weaker points, and that's it. So here we go. Now, I just came home from seeing the movie. It's fresh out of my vision. So no pun intended. So I like to normally sit on these things for a while after I've seen them, at least a night or two, but I got a pretty good grasp on it. And as you can see by the smile on my face, I am fucking blown away. That movie was top notch. It was so good. And it's just tonally so different from anything Marvel has ever done. So I just want to start off by saying that right now. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. And my cons are very, very minor. Some of them I can't talk about here because they are a little bit spoilery. So that'll be in the other one. But I'll get them out of the way first. So one of my cons are, and again, this is the spoiler free, so you're good. I know I just mentioned some of them are spoilery, but I'll save them for the other ones. You're in a safe place here. So some of the CGI in the film, and it's really minor, super minor. It's just some particular scenes I noticed. I was like, some of the CGI is kind of janky, and I'm like, they could have done a little bit better of a job or touched it up a little bit better. Just made it look a little less computerized, you know. And that comes with any of these superhero movies, so I don't really fault them for that. I'm sure they had their top artists working on that kind of thing, and it's you get things as good as you can look. You get a guy walking around in an iron suit that's not really there. I mean, you do the best you can, but I just noticed there were some moments in the CGI, and I was like, oh, that could have looked better. But overall, it's a fantastic looking film, and some of the more CGI heavy elements of the film, like Spider-Man, for example, that's they nailed it. So it's weird in the areas that they did kind of have like a little bit lackluster CGI, because the really heavy computerized parts looked really good. So that was just one minor thing. Another thing is there's a subplot that they kind of tie back into the main story. And it doesn't feel shoehorned in. I don't want to say that because that's not what it feels like. But it does feel like they needed to have a bad guy for the sake of having a bad guy in the film. And that's kind of as much as I can say, unfortunately, without spoiling too much. But yeah, it feels like the villain of the film is just kind of there because they wanted to make sure they checked that box of having a Marvel villain in the film. And I think things would have been just fine without it. So that's all I can really say again. But other than those cons, man, this movie is great. The trailer really shows you a good idea of what you can expect. There's a lot of emotion in this, like a lot of emotion in this, and that's just not just like sad moments. There's a lot of tense moments. The laughs in this movie are so poignant and they hit so well. The Marvel has a certain like brand of comedy that they use, and in these movies it can be kind of like tongue-in-cheek. Sometimes it's a little bit cheesy. The jokes that hit in this movie hit hard, and the timing is like just fantastic. The humor has never been used better than in this film. The tensity, the emotion has never been used better in a superhero film, period. This movie does something with like the characters you already have come to know and have grown with and have watched grow yourself, and it takes them and just turns them on their head, and it plays with you emotionally big time. And I mean, it's tough. It's tough to watch because you get so attached to these fictional characters, you do, but it's kind of tough to watch, and you do really start to relate to them. And it is super divisive the way the thing is presented in this, the Soviet Accords, and the way the whole situation is presented in this. It's really hard to watch it unfold the way it does, and it's you can tell it's hard for the characters too. And they, man, just props to Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. specifically. Everybody does a fantastic job in this film. Tom Holland, I will mention him not too much because again spoilers, but just fucking crushes it as Spider-Man. He crushes it as a man, a grown man who has grown up loving Spider-Man since I was just a young boy. This guy is the Spider-Man you've been waiting for. He's the Spider-Man you've been hoping for. The voice, the look, the fighting, the movement, the humor, everything, man. It just fucking slays. It's so on point. Black Panther, oh my god, nails it. He just nails it. Black Panther is you don't see him as much as you might hope in this, but I understand why, and that's one of my big pros here. Is this film does takes a tremendous undertaking, like juggling all of this. First of all, the super heavy story arc, and taking all of these characters and just does a phenomenal job at balancing out this film. At no point do you feel like, oh, there's way too much going on here. There's too many characters. There's too much this, too much that. No, it all really, really works, and that's because they've had this back catalog of history and previous films that builds up to this, so you already know them. There's not a lot of explaining. There's very minimal origin telling going on here. And it's just great. They really crushed it. The airport scene, without telling you anything really, is just one of the most memorable scenes in a movie, and a superhero movie, period. It's one of the most memorable scenes of any film I've seen in recent history. It's super good, and as a comic book fan, it is like your wet dreams come to life. And I really urge you guys to come check out the spoiler-filled review after you've seen the movie, because I have just so much to say about this. But man, they really understood what they needed to do with this film. Credit to the Russo brothers, credit to Marvel, credit to Kevin Feige. They understood that people out there were starting to talk about the superhero formula getting stale. You know, we've seen these movies already. We've already seen this. We've seen these ensemble action movies now. The Avengers was so huge, and now everyone's been mimicking it. We've seen it all. You haven't seen this. This just goes and spits in the face at every critic, at anyone in the film industry who's like, oh, these are going the way of the Wild West already. They're going to get stale fast, and blah, blah, blah. And it's amazing because this story was right in front of them all this time. Civil War is one of my favorite books. It's a beloved book by many comic book readers, and certainly by most Marvel fans. So it works so well for them, and it's tonally just so different, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this, from anything Marvel's done. The Captain America movies, you really have to give them credit. And this is technically a Captain America movie, and each Captain America movie has managed to just nail this certain tone. The first one was a little campy, right? It was okay. People like it, people hate it. It's divisive, but they had a tone to it. The second movie, The Winter Soldier, has a real it's hard to describe, but there was this tone to Winter Soldier that only Winter Soldier has, and then this movie comes along, and it takes that tone from Winter Soldier, and it amps it up. It's kind of like, I don't know, it just has a very specific tone, and when you're watching it, you feel invested, and you feel like you're in this. You know these guys, you know the problems, you have an opinion on this, and it's gut-wrenching to watch it all play out, but just a fantastic job at just totally taking the whole superhero movie tropes and just throwing them out the window and just surprising people. The emotional depth in this. Now, it's not going to win any Oscars, just because. I don't know why. Honestly, if I was obviously in charge of the Oscars, I would put it up for an Oscar. But this isn't the type of movie Oscar folks look for. But that said, the emotional depth in this film, particularly coming from Robert Downey Jr., is like just fantastic, man. It made you feel something. Like when you weren't watching all these like big action scenes, like you were just to yourself, you were just kind of like what? how did they do this? How did they make me feel something new after I'm already familiarized with these characters, with these types of movies, and they make you feel again, and they make you feel something different, and it's just, it's crazy. I'm trying to really hard to tiptoe around all these spoilers because there's so much to unpack in this movie, but I just loved it so much. Highly recommend. I'm not going to put a number on it because I don't really like to do that, but it's obviously up there. Coming from a Marvel fan, Marvel fanboy, as many have called me, and accurately so. I'm very proud of that, so I don't care. But that also means I would tell you if it was bad. I would tell you if there's things wrong with it, as I have already, and there's more I have to say that is wrong with it, but I can't say it here. But I would tell you, I mean, because I care about this stuff more than most, because I am a Marvel fanboy, and I want it to be perfect. I want it to be what I want. And sometimes they give you what they want, and sometimes that's what you wanted and you didn't know it. So, you know, just to wrap up the spoiler-free review, it's what you wanted in a different way, and it's beautifully done. The whole ensemble is fantastic. Spider-Man is back, totally crushes it. You will be craving to see more of him after this. Black Panther, really awesome. The actor's name is slipping me right now. I really should have looked that up because God, he really nailed it. I'm gonna have to look him up before this spoiler-filled review. But Black Panther's great. He does a great job at displaying royalty as well as like a badass warrior, and his relationships with everyone and his conversations with everyone just come off super well. And he is cool to watch, man. He moves, he fights in such a different way than any of the Marvel characters we've seen on screen so far. And they let these guys play big time. They let them off the chain for a while there, and it gets awesome. And I'll talk a lot more about that in the spoiler-filled review. So I loved it. I highly recommend it. Thank you so much, Marvel, for making my dreams come true. I could have cried in the theater. Really, I could have, because it's just... I can't ruin any of the moments for you, but it's like... everything I ever wanted, every time, I've mentioned this tons of times on this channel and on Power Up and things like that, but since I read Civil War, since I was younger, and every time they made a superhero movie, I've just been like, man, I wish they would do Civil War. And then we got the game, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, and you're like, whoa, we're getting closer, but that's kind of a pipe dream. And then they announced it, and you're like, wow, this is really happening. And then there was a certain moment on screen where you're just like, I literally grabbed my friend, went with my fiance and my buddy, and I was like, what? And my fiance just laughed at me. She was like, you like this? And I was like, I don't even know how to process it. There was another moment where I literally had to grab my buddy by the arm. I was like, are you seeing this, dude? Like, what is fucking happening right now? And it's great, man. I can't wait. I'm going to see it again tomorrow morning. I'm really excited. I love it so much. I really hope you guys love it too. This has a really good shot at cracking the Avengers spot on the box office. If word of mouth is as positive as I think it will be with this, if there was ever a film that could take Avengers down one, it's going to be this one right here. So that's it for the spoiler-free review of Captain America Civil War. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Watch the movie if you haven't. If you're checking this out to get a feel for what to expect, go watch it. Look no further. Just watch it, please. And if you have seen the movie, be respectful of everyone. Don't spoil it for them, please. That's fucked up, and nobody likes you when you do that. And if you want the spoiler-filled review, it's going to be right here. Same channel, probably right next to this video, I would imagine, on our front page. Subscribe. Please come on back and check out more content like this. Most importantly, though, I would really appreciate it if you guys enjoyed this video. Just tap the like button. It takes 2 seconds. Tap that like button. It really helps us out a whole bunch more than you know. So please go ahead and do that if you enjoyed this. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am the happiest man on earth, the Beast NJ, and I'll see you guys next time.